Hello, it's good to have you back. And joining us now from Canberra for the first Politics in Focus of winter is Lyle Shelton. Cold weather and hot issues, Lyle.
Yes, that's a good way to describe it, Kent.
Now, Lyle, we know, of course, that same-sex marriage is a very controversial issue. Even Christians are taking quite opposite views. Now, you're just back from Parliament House yourself. If the Prime Minister was to soften his stance and allow his party a conscience vote on Bill Shorten's private members bill, do we have any idea what the outcome would be?
It's hard to know, Kent. The numbers certainly have tightened up over the last week or so, but there's still a lot of members of Parliament making up their minds on this, and I think the more that we focus on the consequences, I think you'll see people realising that, hang on, this is far more than just the sound bites that we've heard about marriage equality and equal love, that this does actually affect children and their right to be allowed to know who their biological mum and dad are. Because remember, Mr Shorten's saying that we should replace the words man and woman, husband and wife, in the Marriage Act with two people, and that of course means replacing one of the most important persons in a child's life in a marriage, in a family structure. So big consequences here, and I don't think the debate's over by any measure yet. Still a long way to go, as Bill Shorten's bill is not the one that's going to be ultimately voted on.
Okay. Now, have you had a chance to have a look at Bill Shorten's bill or the Greens' proposed legislation? Do they allow sufficient protection for people, like Christian clergy, for example, whose consciences wouldn't allow them to participate in a same-sex wedding?
Bill Shorten's bill purports to say that there's protections, but these things can be changed, and it would just take a motion at a Labor Party conference to change the party's policy, and suddenly those protections for religious ministers are gone. There's no protections in Bill Shorten's bill for marriage celebrants who are not religious. There's no protections for people who provide services to the wedding industry whose conscience might cause them to not want to participate in that. And of course there's no protections for a child to have the truth about their parentage on their birth certificate. So there's some big issues and big problems with Bill Shorten's bill, which is a real worry. And Ken, if I could just pick you up on the point you made in your intro, yeah. There might be some Christians at lay level who are confused culturally by this, but every denomination in Australia is very clear in its teaching of supporting marriage between a man and a woman, and the Christian Church is really doing a wonderful job at taking a strong stand on this in this country.
Okay, really, I would have thought maybe the Uniting Church or the Melbourne Anglicans might be not quite so keen.
Even the Uniting Church and the Melbourne Anglicans are supportive of marriage between a man and a woman.
Okay, well thanks so much for your time this week, Lyle.
Pleasure, Kent. Thanks for having us.